Many people say that they want to write a book, yet 9 out of every 10 people who start writing a book never finish it, leaving one of their biggest dreams unfulfilled. So, what is it about the 1 in 10 people who do finish writing their book? What do they have, and what drives them to complete their books, their plays, and their songs? Welcome to the Editor's Desk, where we explore their writing experiences, their motivations, and their struggles. And now, here are your hosts, author, writing coach, and self-publishing guide, Lynn Everard, and author, Louise Gomez. It's Thursday evening at 5:30 p.m., and we are coming at you from rainy South Florida. I know I wasn't going to do the weather, but,
Couldn't resist.
I couldn't resist, and Home Depot's having a sale on ARC supplies, so if that tells you anything. So, and my name is Lynn Everard. I almost forgot that.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Editor's Desk. My name is Louise Gomez. Welcome.
So, Louise, as we've are in our 9th month of this show now.
Almost ready to give birth.
To something, yes. We're not sure what that is, but something. We've had the pleasure and joy of interacting with a lot of authors.
Yes.
And one of the things that we've found is that many of them have worked really hard to write their book and to get it published, but they don't have a plan. They don't really have any ideas about how they're going to actually get anybody to see it.
I know, because it's like we were talking about the other day. You're like, okay, wow, I'm done with the book. It's like, nope, you're just beginning now. So now's the beginning process, right? When
Right.
You're done writing the
And
book is when it starts.
When I've worked with clients and helping them go through the entire process of the writing and the publishing, it's not uncommon for them to reach a point, and we're not even published yet, where they say, I don't want to look at it anymore.
Yeah.
You just take it and do whatever you want to do with it.
Right.
Because they've had it up to here, they're done, they put so much energy and time into it, and then it's so difficult because you have to break the news to them that unless they were simply doing this as Dear Diary,
Right.
that they're going to need to do something to actually get the book out in front of people. And that's what our show is about tonight.
Absolutely. And I think we have a great guest that we're going to introduce in a minute, but I think we have the perfect guest because he's kind of like wears all different hats and not only wrote a book, but went through the journey of marketing and videos and all the digital media that's needed. So let's introduce Paul Martini, our guest today.
Hey, guys.
And
Hey, how are you guys?
thanks for joining us. I know
Glad to be back.
you've been through that journey. You've written your book. Can you tell us a little bit about the book you wrote? And
Oh, well, it was, Marla and the Magic Ink Bottle, a children's book, of course. But whether or not it's a children's book or, a fiction or whatever it is, it still needs lots of marketing, So Marla was, I think I was, the 4th month, maybe 5th month you guys did this. I was on your show with,
probably something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, and Marla has done pretty well since then. Tons of Barnes and Noble book, store.
That's how we met
readings.
you.
That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, a lot of marketing, a lot of research on what to do with your book and where to go and how to do it, and it's just a non-stop thing that you need to do once you're a writer, once you decide you're a writer,
Well, and really yes, you get a certain amount of joy out of writing the book and seeing it published. It's a beautiful moment when that first print copy comes in the mail.
Yeah.
And you get to open it and you get to
Exhilarating.
see that it's, what you created is actually in physical form now. And then there's this period that says, oh my God, what if someone reads it? But then there's another thought that says, oh my God, what if they don't?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
And so you're-
That's the nightmare. It's like, what if they? But the chances of somebody not reading it actually grow when you don't do any marketing, you know,
Right.
because that's the fear is, well, what if somebody doesn't, what if I don't sell it? What if it doesn't get out? Well, of course it's not going to get out. And the truth of the matter is, you know, if you don't do that, well, you know, books make great coasters, you know, so it's
Yeah.
it's the way it is. So you it's your responsibility as an author, because just like you just said, you've just sure you finished your book and you have the excitement of opening the box and there it is. Welcome to the journey. You know, the journey has now just officially begun.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and it is time consuming. You guys know more than anybody, you know, with your book and what you guys are doing. And I did the same thing. And you have to, yes, of course, social media, you know, everybody always points that direction, but there's so many other different avenues that you have to go. And I think we're going to probably touch on
Yes.
some of those things.
Yes,
Absolutely.
we will. And, you know, one of the things that, as we've looked at all of this and all the conversations that we've had, you know, we've seen that there are a number of marketing challenges, book marketing challenges that authors face. And so one of the things we thought we would do is to share what some of those challenges are, and then be able to talk about ways in which those challenges can be
Overcome.
accepted and overcome. Yes, yes. So, you know, the first one that comes to mind for me is what we talked about, which is you've done all this work, you've put in the hours, you've locked yourself in your room, you've given up a piece of your life in order to be able to get this book done, and then somebody said, yeah, now you have to publish it. And it's like, oh, but I don't even know how to do that. I had all I could do just to write the book, and then you get the book published and you're ready to take this deep breath, like you can finally exhale and like you're done, like you've accomplished something. And then you suddenly realize that I don't think this thing's going to market itself.
Oh, no.
No, but if I can just interject really quickly, what really supports people is knowing that there are other people who've paved the path, have done it before them, and have been able to, you know, create like these little videos like we're going to talk about. You know, Paul is amazing at creating these, you know, mini trailers, and you know, having a team of people who's going to support you
Right,
is important.
right.
Right.
Well, you know, let me just, it's funny. I ran into a fellow author yesterday, Ted Weber, and he has actually he has written 6 books,
Wow.
series in a series. So
Nice.
he's officially writing his 7th book now. And we
Wow.
were talking, and I asked him, I said, so what are you doing, like, for I mean, it's a series, it's like a science fiction type of thing.
Nice.
So when you think about it, the crazy thing is that when you start to think about science fiction books and stories like this, you have a story there, and everybody knows from watching, you know, when the next Indiana Jones movie comes out, or the next Star Wars movie comes out, or whatever, you see the movie trailer, you're sitting there in the movie theater, and what draws you to, oh my gosh, look at that, the story, you get a glimpse of what this is all about. And if you look at social media, and if you look at author pages, and you look at what they're doing, there's not a lot of people, actually, I would say there's literally nobody doing this and having that story being told in a movie trailer atmosphere with the voice and the music and the scenes and the whole 9 yards. Well, this gives somebody, well, what is this? Oh, it's a book. Okay, but you're giving it that same power as a movie. You're giving it that same entertainment value. You're telling your story, and you have a good minute and 30 seconds to do it, and that's what's going to draw the people in for this. It's, you
Right.
know, traditionally, when you look at it, somebody puts the cover of their book out, right? They give a brief little synopsis of what's going on, and that's really not enough.
Right.
It's not enough. I mean, yeah, sure, the cover looks great. It's a brick wall with cracks in it and,
Yeah.
you know, a hand coming through it or whatever it is. But that's not enough. Tell your story. You're the author. If you can't come up with with a script of a minute and 30 seconds worth
Right.
of what your story is, just get to the point. Just all you have to do is sit there and actually imagine, just do the voice in your head, you
Right.
know, along 1978, a
love
man,
his voice.
you know.
I love the voice.
Right.
Look,
You know, I mean, it's so easy, but that's how you capture. It's the
Yes.
spider capturing the fly, you know,
Yes.
with the story. And if you're going to tell a story, then you have to do that next step. It's imperative, you know.
Well,
I
the
agree.
amazing thing
It
is
is
that how quickly our world is moving to video.
Of course.
And
yeah.
because it used to be enough to, you know, do what you said, your book would go up on Amazon and there's a paragraph, or you can learn more and then there's
Yeah.
a second paragraph or whatever. But that is really old paradigm right now.
Right.
And how are you going to get your book to compete with all the
just
other
gonna
books that
say,
are out
yeah.
there?
You're competing with people's attention too. We gotta
Right.
get somebody to do something to draw their attention, and we're competing for their attention
Right.
basically.
Right.
Yes.
And a minute and a half
Mm-hmm.
is kind of what's all you need.
Right.
Right, and that's it. And because you worked in this world of movies and movie trailers,
Right.
you know that how important it is that if you don't capture them in that minute or minute and a half, they're not going to show up at the theater and put their butt in the seat to watch the movie.
You know, of course. I mean, my background, and just today, I mean, I was doing, you know, Coming Up Next on HBO. I do all the. I'm the movie trailer guy for, you know, HBO. I do all that. So, you get these scripts in. Just for let's see, it did Batgirl today.
Oh,
So you get
nice.
you get what was it, like 5 or 6 sentences just to tell the story of what's going on. Then the producer comes, they put it together with the you know the film and this, and it's the same idea. But even with a book, you don't even have to have the 7 sentences. You could go and just think about how many words you can actually get in for a minute. You can tell your story in a you know, and bring the audience in, because you're a writer. That's your job.
That's
You've
right.
decided to write a book. If you can't write that in a minute and 30 seconds, and actually you wrote a whole book, you're telling me
Right.
you can't put a minute's worth of how to pull your reader in. And once they see that, because it's not something that's you don't see it all the time. You know, you definitely on Facebook, on Instagram, you're not seeing authors with these little movie trailers. And that's what's going to give it, I think, a lot of, you know, just to come back to this really quick, I think what happens is that if you're writing something in a story fashion, you know, in a fiction world or whatever, then you must be sitting at the computer and thinking, wow, this could be a movie, you know? This could be a movie, or this is more than this. And I know every author thinks the same thing, you know, why they're writing, of
Sure.
course. And for a lot, it probably is. It probably is that. So it's actually for the author to be able to do that and to have the opportunity to do it, you know, through the means and to be able to have that done for them. It's actually fun because you're writing it, you get to hear it, and then you get to see it, and then you're like, wow, I can definitely use this. This is my story, you know? It's like what you were talking about with opening the box of books.
Yes.
It's the second opening
Yes.
of the box. It's your trailer, you know?
And I would say it's vital. It's not like, oh, should I do it or shouldn't do it? No, it's vital to have your book, to have your trailer. It's like part and parcel of the package that's needed to launch you. I mean,
Right.
I think it's absolutely vital because it's what's needed.
Right. Well, Boca Book Review. I mean, you know, that's what the name of the game is, and even with the steps that are taken on there, the editing. You know, you have to have your book edited. You know,
Yes.
and if you don't, then what are you actually showing? If you have to go through those processes. But the crazy part about it is, and I was doing some thinking about this, is that, you know, sorry to, you know, bring this to the table right
No,
now. Oh, well, you got-
Hey, perfect timing.
but I was thinking about this is that, so the author comes to you guys as,
Yes.
you know, to edit this book. You know,
Yeah.
they want a good copy. But the editing needs to be done, of course, but the ground floor, the story is already there.
Yes.
So during the editing process, if the story is already there, then you can actually start on the back of it, which is start with building your trailer. Start telling your story in a paragraph.
Yes.
Have that going while the editing is taking place, and by the time you reach the end of it, you have everything you need
In place.
in place, ready to go
Yeah.
to start your journey.
Yeah.
You know, and for cheap.
And quality work.
Oh, unbelievable.
Yes,
You know?
yes.
And I
So-
love what you do with the QR codes. Can you tell everybody the value of why they need a QR code for their
Well, I mean, the value of a QR code is absolute, especially in a situation like this. Say you decided to go with the big package on Boca Book Review, right? And you're going to be a guest on this TV show. Well, then, of course, the QR code could go right. You see where it says Paul Martini right there, you know. So basically, that QR code could be right there. So anybody watching this show, of course, can take their phone and then instantly go to your landing page, which was also built by Boca Book Review, and go to the landing page and be ready to order that book in an instant. And imagine seeing that when you come up to that first page on the landing page, your video is already in place.
Right.
So they get their information. Of course, they're not gonna look at the landing page when you're on the show because they want to see you. Of course, if you're entertaining enough. But the truth is that once they're on that page, on that front page, they see your video. Despite the fact that it's all over Facebook and it's all
Right.
over Instagram and it's going all over the United States,
Right.
because that's the whole point in doing this.
Like getting it done easily. Like people want instant
Of
nowadays.
course. And you ask yourself, well, gee, you're sitting there listening to the show right now and you're saying, well, that's great, but I don't know anything about social media. But we do. And that's what Boca Book Review is about. We know how to get it out there. We know exactly the people and the places to put this so that the people that are interested in your topic and your book and readers will know exactly we will target those people. And if you're targeting them with an amazing video that sounds like a movie,
Yes.
what is the end result? Your book is no longer just going to be sitting there, handing out to your brother or your sister or your mother or your father or your friends. It's going to actually be something that you created, and it's going to be making money for you. And isn't that the point of writing a book?
Well, it is, and when I was doing the author coaching and taking people through the entire journey, one of the first questions I would ask them is, who are you writing the book for? Right? Who is your audience?
Right.
Who are you trying to target? Because if you don't know who you're writing the book for, you'll just be all over the place. And when you get done reading the book, yeah, you'll have made it for everyone, but in the process, you'll have made it for no one.
Right. That's exactly right. You'll make it. Well, it's always nice to say, of course, that, like you guys know, that opening, going back to the opening of the box, sure, it's wonderful, and it's like, here it is, oh my gosh, and you
Right.
take a picture selfie with the book,
Yeah.
here it is, and after the first month of the excitement of handing one to your friends and your mom and everybody else and saying, wow, I finally did it and everything, then all of a sudden you hear crickets. It's like, okay, well, now what? So you do what most authors will do. They'll contact their local bookstores, and maybe they'll be lucky enough that their county library will put the book in there, and they'll be lucky enough to be able to go to maybe Barnes and Nobles like we do, and be able to sit there and
Right.
have your audience come to you and be able to sell a couple decent books. Then what? Because that tour comes to an end. It does come to an end, and of course, you will rely on the fact that people are going to come to it. But even so, those dates that you're at a Barnes and Noble or you're at a bookstore, they have to go on social media, because who's going to know about it if you don't? And the same principle goes with the book. You have to make it a bigger deal than it is. At the moment. And of course, it's a big deal because it's your first book, or second or third or fourth or.
Right. It really does make a difference. And, one of the things that people start digging into this, one of the things that they see is that there's this huge price range in terms of, there's a company out there right now that, yes, they're including they'll publish your book for $1,200, but the total package, which includes what we're offering, what we're doing, is almost $16,000.
Right.
And
It's
most of it
astronomical what's
is
out there.
astronomical, and most
Yeah.
of it is
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but most of it is fluff.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Most of it is stuff you don't need that's also highly marked up. So, we as authors, we're
Right.
like, if you're an author watching this, we're like you.
Yes.
We've had to deal with the same stuff, and we all have a budget or not a budget, but if you don't put your book out there, then nobody's going to see it. And it'll look great on your mantle at some point. Maybe you'll dust it once or twice a year. But that's not why you wrote the book. That's not why you went through all the trouble, all the time, all the sweat, all the lonely nights, all of the things you went through was not just for your book to be on a shelf in your closet or somewhere. It was so that people would read it and gain something from it because you wanted to make a difference in the world by writing your book. And you can't make a difference in the world with your book if nobody sees it and nobody buys it.
I think also, if I can just interject really quickly, what I think is really supportive of authors is we have packages for people who maybe they say, okay, I just want this video and this QR code, but I can run with the marketing. Or they may want to say, I don't want to do anything with marketing, So there's such a variety of what we can offer from people who just don't want to deal with the marketing or they want to. There's so many different packages. So it's not in a box where it's just like, okay, you just have to get this. No, you can pick and choose what you want.
Right, and most importantly, if they're in the process and they haven't published their book yet, and they're coming to Boca Book Review and they're saying, okay, I haven't published the book yet. I need to get the book edited first, and so you take on that process. But going back to the QR code, so now you have already had, through Boca Book Review, you've had a QR code generated.
Yes.
So now, at the end of the book or on a page, maybe that QR code can go on to be added to the publishing of the book, and therefore, you can send your reader directly to a landing page to learn more or to find out more about the author. It gives you something more beyond the end, the author's page of the book. It gives you more because you're sending people from the book to anything that you think that they want to read. Have questions? Would you like to know about the second book coming up? If you have a series, you can also talk about,
Nice.
So it's a big deal because going back to the QR code, I mean.
Yeah, it's all about visibility. It's all about putting your book in a place where people can find it, because they can't read it if they can't find it, and they can't find it, they can't buy it.
Right.
And so it's really important to go to that next step, right? It's almost like you owe it to yourself and if you're an author, you understand what that means, because you've put way too much time and energy into this
Right.
to just let it sit. Because again, this is not why you wrote the book. You had a purpose, you had a mission, you had a vision in writing the book. Even if you wrote a fiction book, and you have a story in there of, a fiction book, but it tells the story of good and evil somewhere, or there's a really important lesson in there somewhere that people can learn in the process. That lesson is your message to the world. And so it's so important to be able to get your book out. And, it is hard to go out into the world. And I've had clients who have done this where they've gone out and they found a book marketing company, and the company did nothing
Wow.
and charged them a whole bunch of money
Right.
and didn't give them back the money and didn't do anything for them.
Yeah, that's I hear that. I heard that yesterday. So a friend of mine has his book published. The publisher believes in traditional advertising, which is take the cover of the book and put it out there with a, order here with a little black and white picture
Yeah.
of the book, or
Doesn't
it's
work.
just
Doesn't
like you
work.
might as well just you zoom out. Listen, everybody knows, we live in the TikTok age,
Yeah.
where
True.
it's got, everything has got to pull you in, and if it doesn't pull you in, it's you next,
Yes.
next. You just keep thumbing over it. If something all of a sudden speaks to you instantly, you'll stop and look. And that's, if you guys want to just get to the social media part of this whole
Yeah.
thing, which is a very important thing, because if you don't have any knowledge of doing social media and you've never actually gone in and dialed in the advertising and boosting and
Right.
putting your book out and sending it to the people that are going to buy your book, it's not a scary thing. And some people
It could be, though, for some people
well,
who've never done it.
For
They're
never
like,
done it,
"Oh."
it's not a scary thing.
Right.
And that's what my whole thing is that anybody that I talk to, that
Right.
this is an adventure. This is dig in and get ready for some fun, because you're going to actually be able to see, as the author, real time,
Nice.
who's looking at your book, how many people saw your ad,
Wow.
how long that they stayed to watch the ad.
Oh, nice.
So you get all these analytics, instant, like,
Wow.
wow, they just ordered the book, or emails or this or that or whatever from the post likes and this, and you'll see it, and all of a sudden you start to come to the conclusion that, wow, I didn't write this book for nothing.
Right.
That there's people out there that actually, wait a minute, somebody besides my family really likes, and it's like you get this gratification. And to learn how to do it, and that's what Boca Book Review does. We give you the opportunity to actually sit there and take a lesson on how to do it, and by the time you end that lesson, you're pretty savvy. It's not a long lesson. It's getting straight to the point of what you need to do to get on social media and how to do it. If that's the route you take.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it should be the route most people take, because that's where we're at.
Of course.
Yeah.
How else are you going to do it?
Right.
Yeah, and if you'd like to find out more, you can go visit bocabookreview.com, and you'll see an example of the videos. You'll see the trailer for our book. You'll see the trailer for Paul's book. You'll see a welcome video, and all on a landing page. And you can picture a landing page like that being yours and being a place where people can come to your book. And as we wrap up the show, first we want to thank Paul for coming
Yes,
out and
thank
joining
you
us
so
tonight.
much
Of course.
for
In
coming
some
out.
challenging personal circumstances. And next week we want to let you know we're doing something we've never done before.
Okay.
And that is that we are going to open up the phone lines, and we're going to invite you to call in. You can talk to us about anything related to books.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a book you just finished reading and you think the author would be a great guest on our show. Maybe it is someone you know is an author and they're struggling and you'd like to
Right.
know how to help them.
Right.
Maybe you've always thought about writing a book, but you're not sure which way to go because it just seems such a daunting task. So whatever it is, we would love to take your questions, and if we don't know the answer, we will get an answer for you.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to that, because I know a couple people that are writing books right now. They're in the trenches
Yes.
and they're almost done. So I would love for them to call in.
Yeah, that would be great. So thank you all very much for
Thank
watching.
you for tuning in.
And if you'd like to learn more, go to bocabookreview.com, and we will see you all again next week.
Thanks for tuning in. See you next week. Have a good night.
Imagine rediscovering a past life.
Now imagine finding the person you shared it with.
And I just told all my friends, I'm like, you guys have to read this because I can't put it down. And I have not even gotten to the half of the book yet.
We are Lynn Everard and Louise Gomez, and we are the authors of the book, The Reuniting of Two Past Lives and the Unveiling of the 12 Sacred Lessons.
We invite you to purchase the book and discover the magic. Even if you have never written a book, you are still an author. In fact, we all are. In every moment, each of us is writing our own unique story that we call our lives. Because many of us are, as in the lyrics of the Dan Hill song, Sometimes When We Touch, writers still trapped within our truth. If this is you, why not start writing your thoughts in a journal? It will help you get your truth on paper and could just be the start of your own book. And don't forget to join us here every week for the next edition of The Editor's Desk.